I want to start with what might seem like a really stupid question. Can you explain the purpose of breathing to all of us?
Yes, as human beings, what do we survive on? We eat food, we drink water, and we breathe air. And when oxygen meets with the food that we eat, it generates energy. So the powerhouse, the human organism, is fueled by the air that we breathe and the food that we eat. And in essence, it's as simple as that.
Well, what we're going to learn today from you, and one of the reasons why I am so excited to talk to you, is that while breathing is really simple, most of us are doing it incorrectly. And so I would love to start with, how are we supposed to breathe and what are we doing wrong?
Yes, it's a good question. Um, we would have been breathing correctly for hundreds and thousands of years. And breathing is very delicate. It's very susceptible to change. It's very susceptible to the food that we eat, the lifestyle that we lead, the trauma, the stress that we experience, the excessive talking, the sedentary lifestyle, the office-based jobs. Many factors influence breathing. And for some of us, we're more prone to developing poor breathing patterns than others. And very often it becomes a habit. And we have to think of it's such a vital function. Earlier on we spoke about how important breathing is, and we as human beings, we can live without air for just a few minutes. And the importance of a function is determined by how soon the organism perishes when we switch it off. So it must meet certain criteria. And people often talk about the quality of air that we are breathing,
Mm.
be out in the countryside, be at the seaside, don't be breathing polluted air. But what about the quantity? What about how we breathe? Breathing should be subtle, it should be light, and
Mm.
breath should be undetectable. The perfect person breathes as if they do not breathe. Your breathing should be so smooth that the fine hairs within the nostrils do not move. And if you look at the breathing of a healthy person, their breathing is nose, it's light, it's slow, and it's low. And it's pretty much undetectable. And if they do physical exercise, their breathing is pretty light for the given intensity of physical exercise they are doing.
So maybe we should start with, what are we doing wrong? What do you want us to know about that?
Well, the foundation of breathing is breathing in and out through the nose, Mel. When I'm working with anybody, I'll always ask, like, what does your mouth do when it comes to breathing? And if you breathe through your mouth, what part of the body moves? So if you look down at your chest, and
Yeah.
if you take a breath through the mouth,
Okay.
and as you breathe through the mouth, you'll notice that your breathing is faster and your breathing is more upper chest.
Yes, I can't get
That
it
was,
down. Like, I feel like it stays tight, like
it
just
is,
under my boobs. It's like
yeah.
right in there.
So, and then we have to ask, well, what effect does that have on the physiology? Well, mouth breathing, faster breathing, and upper chest breathing is activating a greater fight or flight response. So, how should we be breathing? Our breathing should be in and out through the nose. And there was an American ear, nose, and throat doctor back in 1976 called Dr. Morris Cottle, Cottle, and he said that the human nose is responsible for 30 functions in the human body.
Really?
And I couldn't find his list. So I wrote my own list of 30 functions.
Really? So
I could
tell
go
me
through
what
them
it,
now if you want.
I want to hear about some, because I think, okay, I smell, I sniff. I
Yes.
tend to get very prone to sinus infections and bronchitis and that kind of stuff, so it also gets clogged. Those are basically the three things that my nose does.
Yes. When you breathe through your nose continuously, oxygen uptake in the blood increases by nearly 10%. And that's discovered back in 1988 by a researcher, Swift. When you breathe through your nose during physical exercise, the gas carbon dioxide is higher in the blood. And discovered back in 1904 that when carbon dioxide increases and blood pH drops, the red blood cells release oxygen more readily to the tissues and organs. So if you, during rest or during physical exercise, breathe in and out through your nose, you're going to increase not only oxygen uptake, but also oxygen delivery to the working muscles and tissues and organs, including the brain. We can influence the blood flow to the brain by changing our breathing patterns. And it's not about taking the full big breath. Other factors that you wouldn't consider are visuospatial awareness. So throughout our evolution, If for example, we were in a wide open space, we had to be able to see what was ahead of us, but also to scan the environment for predators. And that's higher with nasal breathing versus mouth breathing. Memory and attention is higher with nose breathing versus mouth breathing. There's greater recruitment of the diaphragm, and the diaphragm breathing muscle isn't just for respiration, but it provides stabilization for the spine. So 50% of people with lower back pain have dysfunctional breathing. And as you breathe through your nose, you spoke about bronchitis. We have to think of the gas called nitric oxide. And this gas was first discovered on the exhale breath of the human being in 1991. This gas is antiviral, it's antibacterial, it redistributes blood throughout the lungs, it helps to open up the airways. So people with respiratory complaints, but people who are prone to COVID. You know, when we think of the hundreds of thousands of people with asthma and bronchitis and bronchiectasis and COPD and different respiratory illnesses, why are we leaving them breathe through their mouths? And nobody seems to be telling them, breathe through your nose. And that was my first, kind of steps into the whole world of breathing. My own personal journey was having asthma. I was a mouth breather for years because if we have inflammation in the lungs, that same inflammation will travel up to your nose. And when your nose is stuffy, you're 2 to 3 times more likely to have a sleep problem, to snore, to have obstructive sleep apnea. And of course, this then is affecting your mental health. This is affecting your concentration. This is affecting your attention span. Now, I'll talk about even for children. Karen Bonnock is a researcher from the United States. And she did a study in Stratford-upon-Avon in the UK, looking at children from age 6 months to 57 months. So it was over a few years. She looked at 11,000 British kids, children who were snoring or apneic, stopping breathing for 2 breaths or more during sleep, and mouth breathing. Those kids, if untreated by age 5, had a 40% increased risk of special education needs by age 8. Now, we're not just talking about quality of life. We're talking about lifetime impact of chronic mouth breathing, and 25 to 50% of studied childhood population mouth breathe. So Mel, this is a topic that doesn't even come top of the list. In actual fact, it doesn't even come on the list. And in the last few years, we've started to see a greater awareness of breathing, and probably because it's too simple. But at the same time, breathing is not that simple either.
I love absolutely everything that you said. And I want to take a gigantic neon yellow highlighter and make sure as you're listening to us, you understand the single biggest takeaway that Patrick has just explained, which is if you want to have a change in your health, a change in your stress, a change in the pain that you may feel or the sleep that you cannot get, you have a free treasure trove inside your body if you simply start to change from mouth breathing to nose breathing.
I can change my breathing patterns without having to be so aware of my breath to help to bring the body and mind into balance. And that's the thing about breathing. So coming back to oxygen delivery and blood flow, if, for example, even getting to the working muscles, if there's insufficient oxygen getting to the working muscles, well, we're more prone to fatigue. In terms of the brain I spoke about. So like we have 50,000 miles of blood vessels throughout the human body, and our breathing is influencing how dilated or not are they. And people with poorer breathing are more likely to have cold hands and cold feet. It's not just the blood circulation in the hands and feet that's the problem, it's throughout the body.
I feel like I might be your test case here because now I'm thinking, well, I wear socks to bed because when I touch my husband with my feet, he's like, you're so cold. So one of the things that I read on your website and in your books that I absolutely loved was you said breathing is not just for relaxing. It is an incredible tool when you get intentional about how you breathe every day to fight stress. And I would love for you to teach us right now how to stop being a dysfunctional breather and to breathe in a functional way in and out of our nose to get the maximum health benefit.
So the first exercise that I'm going to start off with is small little breath holds. And this is going to introduce you to a means of helping to activate a relaxation response. And then from that, I'm going to show you an exercise to decongest the nose.
Oh, great.
Because
Okay.
if you have a stuffy nose, inevitably it's going to cause mouth breathing. When the mind is racing and you're not feeling informed of focusing on your breathing, simply hold your breath in an exhalation. Take a normal breath in through your nose and out through your nose, and pinch your nose and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let go. And just breathe normal now for about 2 to 3 breaths or even 4 breaths. Not to change your breathing, just breathing normal. And again, take a normal breath in through your nose and out through your nose, and pinch your nose and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let go. And now just breathe normal for 3 to 4 breaths. So you're just breathing normal. The small breath hold will help to stimulate the vagus nerve, which secretes a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine, which causes the heart rate to slow down, and the brain interprets that the body is safe. And again, take a normal breath in through your nose and out through your nose, and pinch your nose and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let go. Breathe in through your nose. So now you're just breathing normal for 3 to 4 breaths. And in a couple of repetitions, then I will show you how to go from this to decongesting your nose. And again, normal breath in through your nose and out through your nose, and pinch your nose and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let go and breathe in through your nose. Also, as you hold your breath, nitric oxide is pooling inside your nasal airway. Then when you let go, you're breathing in. You're carrying this nitric oxide into your lungs. Nitric oxide is antibacterial, antiviral. It's a bronchodilator. So for bronchitis, this is your natural way to help open up the lower airways. Last one. And again, normal breath in through your nose, out through your nose. Pinch your nose and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let go. So now we're going to go on to the nose unblocking exercise.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes. Yes.
So when you say breathe normally, you mean not like how we normally breathe. You mean breathe in and out of your nose, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Well, that's how we should be normally
Well, I
breathing.
just, most of us are probably mouth breathers. So I just wanted to make sure everybody's getting the coaching that when he's cueing us to breathe normal, Patrick means in and out of your nose. And one thing I will tell you is even after the first round of breathing in and out of my nose, and then breathing in and out of my nose, and then pinching and holding for 5, I started to feel almost that sensation of going down in an elevator. Like you really start to feel the pressure that you're not even aware that is built up in your body start to lower. So it had an immediate impact on me. And I just wanted to point that out. Is that normal to experience that?
I think people will have different experiences. That exercise is very much an exercise we do with people who are prone to high stress, racing mind, panic disorder. See, the thing about breathing is we as human beings, breathing is it's such an important function, but every time that we get into a difficult situation, our breathing changes. And when we start playing with the breath, we can often relive the situations in our history. So I'll give you this example. Somebody who is coming into me with panic disorder.
Yeah.
Every time that they've had a panic attack in the past, they've been breathing faster and harder in upper chest, and they're feeling suffocated.
Yeah.
Now, even just placing attention on their breathing can make them anxious. And if I start doing any breathing exercises that alter the volume of breathing and it brings on air hunger, it can tip them into a panic. So we have to be very careful too about breathing in terms of tailoring the breathing exercises to suit the individual. Now, the next exercise I'm going to show you will decongest the nose. However, not to do this if somebody is prone to panic disorder or anxiety or pregnant or cardiovascular issues.
Oh, okay.
Now, despite that, it's actually relatively safe. So I would like you, and do this, you do all of these exercises, you always do them. You tune in to your body and do them to the level that you're comfortable with.
Okay.
So with this exercise, Mel, You take a normal breath in through your nose and out through your nose, and you pinch your nose, just gently hold your nose and just nod your head up and down, holding your breath. And keep holding your breath. Keep holding, keep holding, keep holding your breath. Keep holding, and let go there and breathe in through your nose. So when you do a breath hold after an exhalation, so if you hold your breath after a normal exhalation, that will help to decongest the nose. Now, we need to do it 5 or 6 times.
I got worried about how much you were counting. I'm like, how long am I holding this? Oh my God.
So whenever you're ready,
I
take
am.
a normal breath in through your nose. Only normal. So I'm going to have
sorry.
you just do that again. So remember about the subtlety of the breath. Just a light breath in.
Patrick, there's nothing subtle about me. Here we go. Light breath in, everybody.
A light breath into your nose and a light breath out through your nose. And just gently hold your nostrils to stop breathing and nod your head up and down as you hold your breath. And keep relaxing into the body as you're holding your breath. Now, it's a very normal thing to hold your breath. Kids, if they go swimming, they'll do breath holds all the time. So it's a very normal human trait to go into the water and hold your breath. Now, as you hold your breath here, it's activating a slight stress response, which will help to open up the nose. And now let go, Mel, and breathe in through your nose. So the key to help decongesting the nose is to hold the breath for at least 30 seconds or so. But I would say when you start off, always start off gentle and just tune in on how is your body reacting to breath holding.
I'll tell you what just happened. I literally feel like my nostrils are now the size of a Tootsie Roll. They widened up, and all of a sudden it was super clear because my allergies are starting to kick in now that it's going summer to fall in the United States. And it worked that second time in particular, like, I am what scientists refer to as a mouth breather. And I'm not supposed to be. And neither are you, by the way. It definitely signals that I shouldn't be breathing out of my mouth. You can live without food for weeks. You can live without water for days. But your breath, you can't go without it.